Namaskar, welcome to Honest Astrologer, and today I am going to talk about one of my personal favorite placements, Mars in the 8th house, and I absolutely love this placement. I know this is much maligned, most people do not like it, but I find this a beautifully exhilarating placement. So I call this the placement of the phoenix. So 8th is a difficult house, much maligned, not without a reason, and it is much misunderstood. However, this house is a very important part of life. Remember, Mars rules the 8th sign, which is the sign of Scorpio, which is the mysterious sign of death, birth, and the underworld. This is where the first part of your life is destroyed and second part of your life starts. So there is a sort of a rebirth that happens in this house and in this sign. The deep dark waters of Scorpio are ruled by Mars in co-ownership with Pluto. Some people assign partial ownership to Shani, but basically everybody agrees that Mars is way more comfortable in this house than any other planet. So tough planet for tough houses. This is a transformative placement, and the native within the lifespan experiences 3 or 4 such occurrences where his old self is destroyed and a new self is born. So remember, this is the house of rebirth, and Mars here will give you several rebirths within the same body. It gives great struggles, but also it showers you with great victories. So, how to understand this? One of the best fitting pop culture references for this placement from the climax of Amir Khan's old movie Gulam. So, in the climax, the hero is beaten to pulp by a much stronger, muscular villain. And when it appears everything is over, the hero is down, is covered in his blood, sweat, tears, and mud. It looks like it's lost. But then, against all odds, out of sheer passion, he stands up bloodied, wounded, beaten, but not defeated. Then he gets up and does this, snaps his finger and challenges the villain, a much bigger, more powerful villain. He challenges him with all glorious defiance. And then he battles like a devil, and in the end, he knocks out the villain cold to win the challenge and rises like a wounded hero. So 8th house is the wounded warrior, the warrior who will keep fighting, and this is a no holds barred, win or die kind of attitude, which makes these people so powerful and make them this conquering hero against insurmountable odds. So, couple of things about them. Number one thing, like a phoenix, they rise from their ashes after intense struggle. So, the popular symbol of the sign Scorpio is the scorpion, the bichu, but some people also relate eagle and phoenix to this sign, and I agree with both because these people have this ability to soar like an eagle and rise from their ashes like a phoenix. These guys will surprise you. When it looks like everything is finished, these people are just getting started. Watch them reborn and rise. On the negative side, this is a high conflict placement. These people live a high conflict life. Nothing comes easily to them, but they are not easily beaten. They will fight tooth and nail. Life keeps throwing tests at them and they keep acing those tests. So, high risk, high reward lifestyle is what they have to go through. Then these guys are physically and sexually very powerful. Mars in the natural house of Scorpio gives them a lot of pent up sexual energy, and these guys, especially the males, are full of it. They, in terms of health, Mars placed here, particularly if it is aspected or accompanied by Shani or Rahu, it can create some sort of medical condition, particularly digestive problem and dental issues. They might have to undergo small operation for something like a piles or some other digestive problem, and might have to go through dental extraction or root canal or some such thing. But thanks to Mars 8's ability to regenerate and fight back from any point of disaster, these guys can use this energy to regain their health from a point of virtual no return, while a common mortal would have succumbed to it. One thing about these people, one word that can define them is passion. So there is nothing half hearted about them. Either they are willing to die for something or they just don't care. They make some of the most patriotic, hardcore citizens. I remember there is a beautiful poem written by one of our freedom fighters, popularized by Pandit Ram Prasad Bismilji. And you might have heard some lines of it. It's called Sarfaroshi Ki Tamanna, very beautiful poem. But there is one line which has a lot of Mars 8th house energy to it, and I personally love that line. So the poem is something like सरफरोशी की तमन्ना अब हमारे दिल में है देखना है जोर कितना बाजू है कातिल में. There's this entire line after line. But there's one line that resonates with 8th house Mars, which is है लिए हथियार दुश्मन ताक में बैठा उधर और हम तैयार हैं सीना लिए अपना इधर खून से खेलेंगे होली गर वतन मुश्किल में है सरफरोशी की तमन्ना अब हमारे दिल में है. So this is the kind of passion, blood and fire these guys bring to something which they totally believe in. So खून से होली खेलनी है, these are you guys. They won't back off. Another part about this is that they are not in your front aggressive types. They often come across as somebody who would avoid a conflict because 8th house is the hidden house. So they keep their Mars hidden. And it only appears in the case of emergencies. So there is a theory which says that people with 8th house Mars died fighting in a war in their previous lifetime. And I find that there could be some truth to it. So these guys are not overly aggressive, perhaps because they've seen the bitter end of war. But when pushed to beyond their point, they can turn into the fiercest, most passionate warriors as they know the drill through the end. So that Purva Janma Sanskar of a warrior will rise and they can turn into a real warrior. On the negative side, this can create some issues with inheritance and shared wealth. 8th house governs inheritances and other people's resources. So Mars here indicates that they can gain some money from inheritance or from their partner's family. There can be battle over inheritances. There can be conflicts about joint properties. One best thing which I love about these people is that they are the masters of crisis and war. They have this last man standing energy to them. They mostly prefer to avoid conflict, but they won't take crap from anybody. If you cross their limits, they turn into something which you couldn't have imagined. So these are the guys जिनके लिए वो silent kid memes बना है. Just Google what a silent kid meme is and you'll find out that they keep their intense violence hidden and passions pent up. But when situation demands it, these guys can be the deadliest of the lot. And they can go through difficult emergencies with a very calm, stoic face. They can reach the ends which would scare a lesser mortal. Then, like I said, these guys go through extreme ups and downs in life. They go through some extreme difficulties. And there are numerous cycles of self-destruction and rebirth in their life. So this is a placement which indicates deep transformation. So at least 3 or 4 times in their life, they have to undergo very profound change. It could be bankruptcy, divorce, near-death experience, or any big loss. And it is going to kill them the way they are and a new them is born. So rather than a steady life path, they have this hero's journey where the old self dies, the new self is reborn again and again. So within the same body, they can experience 3-4 lifetimes. And yes, I have often seen that at least once in their life, they will undergo a near-death experience, which can shock them, but again, it is transformative. On the negative side, they can have complicated relationship with their siblings, particularly younger brothers, because 8th house Mars doesn't bore well for the relationship with the younger brother. And another thing that these people have, they live through passion, so they don't care a lot about money. So Mars in the 8th can be unwise with his money. When it comes to money, these guys can be impulsive and can spend money in high-risk ventures, or they can spend money recklessly on the people they love without thinking about the tomorrow. And this can come back to haunt them. So it is advisable that they play safe with their money, at least have some money put somewhere which they never ever take out no matter what. Now coming to the biggest question of all, Manglik. What about Manglik? According to some schools of astrology, Mars in 1, 4, 7, 8 and 12 are considered Manglik. Some schools of thought do not consider an 8th house to be a Manglik, and I belong to that. I don't think 8th house Mars should be considered a Manglik. Mars in 1 and 7 are aggressive but not bad kind of Manglik. Mars in 12 and 4 are what I call difficult Mangliks, because they do a lot of damage to the marriage. Although Mars 1 and 7 can create complication and aggression, but they are not the bad kind of Manglik. I think Manglik has been blown out of proportion. Ketu, Shani and Sun do maximum damage to marriages. Mars is not even among the top 3. It won't even get a bronze award when it comes to making a mess of the married life. So I don't give too much weightage to marriage. And 8th house Mars, in my view, is not even a Manglik, let alone a bad one. It is not even a Manglik, so it's not a deal breaker in any way. The problem here can come in a very different manner. These guys can be very dominating in their relationship with the in-laws. So remember I said wherever Mars sits, the native will do dadagiri in that house. Now Mars sitting in the 8th house, a person can be a little domineering towards the in-laws. Now when I say domineering, it need not necessarily be bad. If the chart is in good impact, particularly the Sun, Moon and Ascendant, they can become their defenders and protectors. Or it can be a bad kind of domination if the chart is under a lot of malefic influence. Then he can become the obnoxious son-in-law or the terrifying fufaji, which is very common in India. So it depends on the chart overall. So remedies for this, you need to look at the chart as a whole before suggesting a remedy. But for this kind of placement, usually self-introspection, journaling, mindfulness can be a good remedy. Most of all, I strongly recommend martial arts for these natives, especially at their younger age. So that will not only give them physical exercise, it will also help them synthesize their warrior self and will take out excess anger and stress. Journaling can be a good exercise which can bring out their deeply buried emotions and prevent an explosive meltdown. It can also help them understand their passions better because it comes from a very, very deep place. So doing a Mars mantra and Mars yantra can never backfire. It would only give you good results, and it can pacify this placement and help you get good results of this placement. So overall, this is a tragic but beautiful placement, difficult but exhilarating placements. These guys can come across as calm but deep individuals who turn into superheroes when the times need it. And yes, they can be secretive, a little difficult to handle, they can have mood swings, they can be very deeply passionate. But if you are in trouble and nobody seems to know what to do, when everything seems lost, they come into their Superman avatar and save the day. You can count on them to be the last man standing. These guys are experts at snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. That's where they shine. And if it's really important, remember, खून से खेलेंगे होली गर वतन मुश्किल में है. So by and large, this is a mixed blessing to have, but for a tough house like the 8th, this is a good placement. It is a blessing in the end. So a tough planet for a tough house, that does it. Jai Mangal Dev.